to my channel. So today I have 4 looks for you with 2 of the palettes from Colourpop Dark Blooms collection. But before we get started, if you are new to my channel, welcome. And if you're an oldie but goodie, welcome on back. My name is Ashleigh and I have a doctorate in pharmacy, and that's how you get Dr. Ash in her makeup. And I really love eyeshadow, but please just call me Ash or Ashleigh. So like I said, I have 2 palettes out of the Dark Blooms collection. It actually came with a third one, and the third one is called Ornate, and it's a super warm tone one, and I'm gonna like stick a picture right here so you can see what it is. But I just decided to go along with these 2 palettes, and I'm going to show some images and swatches of the palettes. And I just thought that the color stories of the Baroque and Grandeur were really different, especially the Baroque. It's kind of like a cool tone gray purple palette, and I also, like I said, I got the Grandeur, and this one is kind of like a more mid-tone brown with subtle pops of green in it. And both of the palettes retail for $14 and can be found on the Colourpop website. And I do believe that this collection is actually coming to Ulta, because when it actually released, or kind of got the sneak peeks of these palettes coming out, it did look like an Ulta only collection, but you can pick it up on the Colourpop website. Are the unit cartons of the package for each of the palette, and on the back you do have the shadow names, and you also have the ingredients, which are teeny tiny written down here. But once you open up the back of the palettes, you do have the same shade names on the back, so you can see them up and close and personal, plus they are written on the front of the palette. And of course, Colourpop is made in the United States of America, and it is also distributed here. For these palettes, there is one pressed glitter, which is in the Shadow Palette Grandeur. So you know pressed glitters are not deemed safe for the eyelid, so there is a warning about that. And you should be careful when using it in the immediate eye area, just in case you get any of the glitter particles in your eye, because it can be dangerous and it can scratch your eye. So like I said before, I do have 4 looks using both of these palettes, so 2 with each. And then I have some final thoughts at the end of the video. So let's go ahead and get started. Our prime using my Urban Decay Primer Potion in the shade Caffeine, and then I have my eyebrows filled in using my Benefit Cosmetic brow definer in the shade, no, this is a Goof proof, and it's in shade 3.75. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with my Ever So Dirty Wingoss number 16 brush. I'm gonna go ahead and jump in with the shade Dusk. This palette is really beautiful, but it's kind of hard to show on camera because of the gold background. It's like very blinding. So I'm just blending that in the crease, and it is a nice mid-tone brown. It's actually blending out really well, having no problems with this so far. And I'm just sweeping this back and forth in the crease. Up the crease with the shade Mold, and this is a Crease Pro by Sonia G. I'm going to go ahead and jump in and start bringing that down a little bit further. It's a really pretty deep, just chocolate brown shade. And it has nice pigmentation. And I'm just going to go ahead and smooth out the blending of the edges. Worker Pro, I'm going to go in with the shade Monaco. It appears to be like green/gray, so I'm really interested to see what this shade looks like. It is a sequin formula, so I'm just going to pat that on the outer V, and it does look like to have some green to it, so yeah, it's really pretty actually. So if you guys hear a lot of noise, I'm gonna try to edit it out in the background, but it is super windy outside. The wind gusts are probably up to at least a good 60 miles per hour at the moment. And yeah, I hear a lot of rattling outside. It's going down. So those blend out really nice. G Builder Pro, jumping in with the shade Lavish right here. This is like a matte tan, no, I'm sorry, this is a, so the shade Lavish is basically like a satin shimmer brown shade, and I'm just sweeping that across the lid. brush, wiped it off. Gonna go in with the shade House, which is just a regular champagne shade. And I'm gonna pop that in the inner corner. Right back in with that Sonia G Crease Pro. I am going to go back in with the shade Mode, which was the darker crease color, and just place it up here to add just a little bit more structure to the look. All right, I'm back, and here is the final look. I think it came out gorgeous, and the lip I am wearing is the Fenty Beauty. It's from the this Christmas 2020 Unmatched. It was in the set with the other little mini stunner lip paint, and I think it's really, really gorgeous. And I really like this I really like this eye look. I think it came out gorgeous. I really can't remember the last time I did something this neutral on my channel. Like, I've done neutral-ish looks, but like, I'm just talking about like browns, golds, tans. Yeah, I don't know. I think the last time legit was maybe like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years, when I played with the Colourpop times Karuchi Brown Sugar palette. But I am digging this. This is really, really cute. So let's go ahead and jump into taking the Wayne Goss number 16 brush. You're going to jump in with the shade Velvet. I'm just going to run this in the crease, and it's, as you can see, it's a pretty neutral color, but it does have nice glide to it and does blend well. My Wayne number 17, I am now going to take the shade Jolie. And this is a sequin formula, and I'm going to start kind of patting this in the crease and then blending it out. It's a really, really dark brown. And unfortunately, the glitter is kind of going everywhere. So that is just something to keep in mind with the sequins formula. It can sometimes, I don't know, I don't feel like it ruins the look, but it does get a little annoying. But that is a really beautiful shade. And I'm just gonna go ahead and place a little bit more in my crease where I tend to, like, my shadow tends to skip right there. And then I'm just gonna kind of wing it out ever so slightly. And then just bring it in on that outer V. Going back with the first brush and taking that first shade Velvet, which was that light nude shade, I am going to buff out the edges of that deep brown shade. On your G Worker Pro, going in with the shade Monaco. That's that greenish dark shade. And I'm just going to fill in right here where we have some little space. And then just kind of work that up into the crease. So on your G Builder Pro, going to go in with the shade Need. I'm just going to pick that up and place that all over the eyelid. This is a very beautiful shade. It is a little on the sheerer side though, so you do have to build it up. So it looks really nice once you layer it kind of like over that shade. When you layer it over the shade Jolie, you do kind of start seeing the other effect of that shade. And I'm just gonna pop that into the inner corner. Yeah, so when you lay it over Jolie, you really do see like the shine. So it looks more sheer right here, but I kind of like that, because it gives some lightness to the eye. And then, but I really like how it also looks when you start layering it over the darker shades. And I'm just building it up to my desire. All right, I'm back, and this is the second look from the Grandeur palette. So I really love this palette. Like, this palette is like a silent sleeper. Like, it is a beauty, and I'm loving this shade right here. It is like sheer, but then when you put it on top of another shadow, it just really intensifies. That is the shade Need, and I love how it looks like. It's just like a nice soft duochrome green. You know, I love green shadows. So I did switch out my lip. I am wearing the Juvia's Place Matte Toffee along with Chestnut lip liner, and I'll leave that down below. All the rest of the face details are the same. Let's jump into the next palette. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to play with this palette. A primer is on, using the same primer as before, Wayne Goss number 16. I am going to go in with the shade, let's see. There's so many great choices for mattes in this palette. So I think I'm gonna just jump in with the shade Secret. And this is a sequin formula, but the shades in here, oh, okay. I mean, like, the glitter is annoying, but let me tell you, this color is stunning. So I'm just gonna kind of push that up to this way. This color, okay, the glitter flecks in here are really pretty too with that blue. But and then I'm just gonna start kind of fanning it out and feathering it ever so slightly. So this shade is so stunning, but as you can see, that glitter kind of went flying every which way, but dog, it is beautiful. Goss number 4 blending brush. I am going to take the shade, I want to say Stunner, and it's kind of like a navy blue slash gray, and I'm just gonna work this in. Yeah, that is, yep, stunning. And at first, because it's such a deep matte, I am just going to kind of pat it right here where I kind of, the shadows tend to skip on me because of my folds, and that just kind of helps the cause. There we go. And then blend, and that way you don't have to work on blending forever, going back and adding eyeshadow forever. It just kind of works. And these two shades together are just magnificent. And I'm kind of just rounding this shade in where I took the other shade kind of up. With that very first brush where I had the number 16, I'm going to go back in with the shade Secret and just apply a little bit more on that outer edge of that shade. G Worker Pro, I'm going to take the shade Lounge, which is kind of like a purpley shade, and I'm just going to pop this right in that little pocket. And this shade is stunning too. It's kind of like it's a little purple hue to it. G Builder Pro, I'm going to jump in with the shade Noble in the middle. Just applying that to that open space. And this shade actually kind of reminds me of the shade Need in the Grandeur palettes. It's kind of like the same concept. Let's see. I just wiped that brush off. I'm going to go in with the shade at top, actually called Ritzy. Let's see, and I'm going to layer that over it, yeah. I just wanted a shimmer with a little bit more pigment. I like that shade, but just kind of building that over. And yeah, when you put it over that other shade, oh, it's really pretty. And then I'm just taking that same brush and going back in with a little bit of the shade Noble. I'm going to go back in Wayne Goss number 4 brush, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of the shade Stunner, which was that blue shade, and I'm going to run it right in here. Just kind of tie the look together, and it's very softly, a little bit partly underneath the lash line. All right, I'm back, and this is the first look using the Baroque palette, and this look is so pretty. The mattes blended out like a dream. I did change up the lip because this look is more cool tones, so I went in with the Bite Beauty Glace. This is the lip crayon, and then I popped a little Pat McGrath OpuLust gloss with Lavendaring over it, and all the other face details are the same, so I'll just keep it down below like before. But I'm really digging it. So let's get into one more look. Wayne Goss number 16, going in with the shade Baby. And I'm just going to throw this in the crease, and this is a beautiful slate gray shade. I'm just gonna go back and forth, windshield wiper motions. And everything has blended out so nice with these two palettes. I mean, I'm really impressed with this formula. Number 4, going in with Etiquette, another sequence formula shadow. Oh man, beautiful, but lots of glitter going everywhere. On your G Worker Pro, going in with the shade Grand, which is also another sequence formula. Popping that on the outer V. So this shade is just looks like a little bit hair deeper than that shade Etiquette, so you can see the difference. And I'm going to bring this shade in more. I'm not taking any additional product. I'm just kind of lightly feathering it across the lid, so that way, now I am picking up just an extra product. That way the shades, the shimmer shades, can have a little base. And I'm not making sure it's perfect. I'm just sweeping it there. That way I have something to stick onto. G Builder Pro, going in with the shade Noble, the one in the middle. And you see the difference when you have something underneath that shadow versus when you don't. It doesn't look as sheer. With that brush off, going to jump in with the shade Bougie. And this is a very light tone matte. And I'm just going to pop that in the inner corner. A little highlight. And it's matte, but you still get some of the glitter from that shade Etiquette. And voila, I'll be right back. All right, I am back, and let's talk about these two palettes. So you saw the two looks that I completed, and I would say like these palettes performed so well. Like Colourpop just really knocked it out the park with it. Now, of course, I don't have the third palette, but if it performed anything like these two, then I would say you're good to go. Let's go ahead and start with the packaging. The packaging is gorgeous. It tells a theme. I love how the flowers are somewhat embossed over the packaging. It's cardboard, it's sleek. I love how the name is written in gold, and that is even more embossed over the flowers. It is just a gorgeous color scheme for both of the palettes, and I think like it works across all three palettes. Now I'm going to start off with Grandeur. I also like how it has the gold backing, even though on camera it doesn't translate very well, but let's see, this palette was gorgeous. I feel like it's very medium, it's neutral, it has a great, you can get very great brown looks. I love how foiled the particular shade Lavish was. It was very rich and it came off very nice on the lids. And then you had one particular shimmer shade, which is the shade Need, which had like a small duochrome flip to it. It also shifted colors when you laid it over a particular matte shade because it's a little bit more sheerer in nature and doesn't have so much of a strong back color or base color to the shadow. Also, the mattes were gorgeous. You have 3 mid-tone browns and then 1 really deep brown. And then this particular sequin shade, which is Monaco, I love how it's like a deep forest green but kind of brown at the same time. And then if you layer it over with the shade Need, it's beautiful. You do have one pressed glitter in here. It's like take it or leave it. If you like glitters, that's good. For me, I'm not that interested in it, so I do wish that that particular shade was like an intense foil shade. But I feel like you get great options with this palette. You can go everyday neutral, or you can really go and smoke it out. So I'm really happy with this palette. I mean, when I did my very first look, I felt so glam. I felt very pretty. I was like, I just don't even know when I've done anything this neutral on my channel. Although I did think, I was like, maybe the Mented Cosmetic palette, that was like maybe the last neutral. I've done some more neutral looks, but they're more like berry tones and things of that nature, but just like specifically browns and golds. So everything performed very well in this palette. Now the sequin shades, I mean, it's like you take it or leave it. Like the colors that they came up with in this palette for the sequin shades are gorgeous, but the glitter, it just kind of floats everywhere. So it's just like, do you want to deal with it or do you not want to deal with it? But I don't feel like that makes or breaks the look. Now with the Baroque palette, I want to say this is my favorite. This was what I was most looking forward to. And I just love these gray, blue, purpley shades. I mean, it's so beautiful. I don't have a whole lot like this in my collection. And so this really, really makes me happy. And this is like something we don't see a lot from Colourpop. We're really used to seeing warm palettes. Like the color story of this particular palette is amazing. They knocked it out of the park. The matte selection is off the chain. You have so many different undertones. You have purple, you have gray, you have just slate gray, you have gray with a tinge of blue, you have a navy blue matte, you have a dark eggplanty purple / gray matte that doesn't have glitter. Then you have the blue, it's like a blue-gray sequence. Now, this particular palette, you have lots of sequence formulas. You have about 3 sequence formula mattes, and you do get more mattes in this particular palette, so I really do like that. Now, the 2 shimmers, I do wish one was just maybe a little bit more impactful, like I'll be having Grandeur with that brownish one, but they are both very beautiful still, and they bring some lightness to the eyes, so I do kind of appreciate that, because when you layer them over another shade, they're going to kind of shift. They have a small little duochrome capability. So I really enjoy this, and I will be putting both of these palettes to use. I think like they really just knocked it out the park with this collection. It's so different. The packaging was just on point. The shade colors were on point. And every palette just told a story that was different, and I really do appreciate that. So with that being said, I hope you really like the 4 looks that I did. I'm like, can I even decide what was my favorite? I really love the first one. I kind of changed up the lips just to kind of how the feel of the eyeshadow was. I really like the first look I did with the Grandeur palette. I love the second look I did with that green because it had like a tinge of green to it. And then the Baroque palette, I would say for the Baroque palette, maybe the first, I can't even pick. You guys just let me know down below. I'm not going to pick this time. So let me know down below, did you pick up these palettes at all? Have you played with them? Did you even like what I presented to you guys today? Give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, because you know I would love to have you here in my little makeup family. And with that being said, you already know what time it is. It's time for the chair dance. Hey, chair dance. Hey, chair dance. Chair. All right, y'all. Bye.